The other day, I was having a conversation with someone, and this person was sharing their beliefs on how the closer to the equator you get, the more rhythmic and drums and earthy the movements are and the people are, and the further away from the equator you get, the more intellectual and distant from the art people get. So that is where you find instruments and a little more technicality to it instead of that instinctual, primal nature that can come up when you're listening to music. So I'm not sure this came up as an aspect of it, but that is, for me, the difference between white people and black people in different areas of life. When it comes to being a black woman, there is a groundedness, a presence, a beauty, a sensuality in being a black woman. And this is for like most black women, I would say. There's just something in the way black women move and groove and talk and just exist in the world, where there's like taking up of space, there's an ownership, there is a power, there is an instinctual attraction that people have for black women. Even though in conversation, sometimes people act like black women are so toxic, they're difficult, they don't baby me. There is a strength and a source of unconditional tough love that it springs from, in my opinion. Whereas like when it comes to, I guess as a foil, white women in this instance, there's this image and this portrayal and projection that happens where it's like, I don't know how to explain. It's very thoughtful. It's very in the head, analytical, figuring things out, trying to like manipulate, maneuver, intend. Like there's just not as connected and not as grounded or present. So what is the purpose of this rant? I feel like when it comes to being alive, we can either be in our heads and detached, a bit airy-fairy, or we can be grounded in our bodies and present. And that's just like a foil I'm making up, more because like, I guess when it comes to black women, it feels like people feel like black women are superstars. They are single moms. They're out here crushing it. They get stuff done. They're so powerful and amazing. It's like when it comes to black women, there's nothing a black woman can't do. Whereas like when it comes to white women, it feels like they're damsels in distress. They need help. They have to be saved. There's this air of like, yeah, they'll do whatever you want. And they're so malleable. It's not as substance oriented. There's something like missing in that dynamic. And I'm Latia. I'm a relationship coach. This is a lot of my opinion and conjecture. I'm also a data engineer. So looking at different viewpoints and seeing what's out there like informs my opinion. And it's fascinating to me as I guess what like kind of brings all together is the shape of water. I watched that movie, and the first time I watched it was like, wow, it's so fascinating, so interesting. And then I watched it a second time, and it was like, wow, this movie is trash. Like, it's so frustrating how black women will speak up, speak their mind, speak the truth, say these things that are meaningful and make a difference, and yet they're undermined at so many turns. And it's just like, so we're just not gonna act like she tried to tell y'all the truth and like let y'all know what was going on. So we're just gonna act like that's okay. All right. And for me, I know like the first time I watched it, I was sitting by this man. He was very handsome, very nomad traveler, doing his thing around the world. Very like, I was dreaming of sitting by a handsome man in first class today, and you appeared, and thank you. And we had a great chat, and he suggested it, and it helped me have like a little breakthrough. And like, wow, I realized a lot of my issues come from this thing that I went through. Holy moly. And then I watched it within a day or two of the first time with a friend, and like one Delta will like cut stuff out. So I did not realize that some of the things that were happening. I was like, whoa, wow, that's weird. And then with my friend, it was just like, yeah, this movie's crap. Like, this is not that good of a movie. It was like, it didn't ring strong or true. Like, a lot of the things that felt interesting the first time around were just like, it's erudite, pedestrian, crap. And I remember feeling like, if I had to make a movie and like take the premises that they were taking, I feel like I would just do it differently. Like, you're looking at the shape of water. Water, why? Because it's fluid. It's like, it does nothing. It is so powerful. And for me, I'm like, I felt like it resonated at first. And I'm like a shot of whiskey. Like, get a taste of whiskey. Like, forget that nonsense. Because we think that we need to be so zen and so grounded and calm. And like, I am stoic and unmovable. And it's like, wow, that's freaking boring. That's why nobody wants to be around you. If you're always stoic in the face of anything, it's boring. Like, are you expressing your true opinions? What matters to you? Like, what's powerful and makes a difference? Are you defined by the other people in your lives or by who you choose to be? Where is the source of your life? Like, where does your focus go? And I meet so many people who are focused on what other people think about them and say about them and how they show up. And for me, I'm like, that's cool, but like, okay. Is that if all that you are is the sum of what other people tell you about yourself, that's cool. Who do you say that you are? What is your true self and your knowing? How do you define your essence? And I know that I have those challenges sometimes as well, because it's like when it comes to work, I don't always know how to be successful at work. If I did, I wouldn't need nobody. I just be like doing this on my own, building my business, taking all the knowledge that I have and applying it, and I don't. And it's like, all right, so what's stopping me? And like, part of it's because I'm like, you know, the effect that I have on people is pretty dope. I've literally had someone tell me in our conversation, you raised my self-worth and the way I see myself. And I was like, dang, that's power. I did that? Thank you. I am honored. And I've had other people have like these amazing experiences with me where they're just like, you get me, you read me, you see me for the truth of who I am and not just what I project into the world. And I know that's valuable. And it's tough to find ways to like, this is something I've been doing since I was a kid. I've always walked up to strangers and introduced myself. I've always put myself into challenging situations. I love things like that. I love listening to people and hearing their stories, especially when they're willing to open up and own, like, you can shift that narrative. You don't have to be a victim. You can be victorious. We always have a choice. And it's more fun with people who are willing to be open and share than people who aren't, because it's like, I mean, if you want me to tell you about myself, I can. I'm dope. I have a great life. I have wonderful stories. I have crappy stories. Most of my stories are pretty funny overall. I like them. And it's like, I remember talking with someone and we were having this conversation around, you know, what is it that you like about yourself? Well, people tell me they like this and people say they like that and people love this about me and they love that about me. And it's like, okay, so what do you yourself find attractive about yourself? What is it that you, on your own, without these people telling you things, what is it that you value about yourself? And that changes the conversation, because instead of it being hearsay or gossip in a way, now it becomes like, what is it that I define myself on? You know? And it's like, anytime we define ourselves, like it's a creation. We create ourselves and then we become that person we create. So a lot of people are stuck in speaking who they would like to be and not the truth of who they are. And that's an okay place to be. Because like, as long as you can acknowledge there's a gap between where I am and where I'm striving to go, that's powerful. Because like, as humans, we like to close gaps. So if like there's this circle and it's closed, we're happy. That's wonderful. But if it's like that little bit missing, it's just like, you just imagine it closing. You're like, no, I don't accept this gap. And if we start looking at our lives and what we're creating of ourselves, of our businesses, of our relationships as opportunities to close the gap. So bad things aren't a problem unless you don't do anything about it and don't take responsibility. So if you have crappy friendships, it's not about my friends need to change and they need to be better. It's like, no, understand what type of friendship is it? What is this relationship and its meaning to you, and how would you like to move forward? Because like, you can blame everyone for being sucky friends, or you can honor, I'm not that great of a friend to these people. I don't like them. I don't want to spend time with them. And I'm going to stop and choose people that I would like to spend time with. We all have that power, and it's easy to get caught up in feeling like, oh, I don't, like, I'm not here for myself. And it's like, no, you're the only one who can take care of you. And if you aren't taking care of yourself, what's stopping you? How do you get out of your own way? How do you honor the truth and core of who you are? Like, let's not be here in our heads. Like, let's shake that off. Like, ground in your body and be present and like listen to your core self and your truth. So when it comes down to it, we're always wanting to just be who we are, like naturally, freely, without all of these rules and mandates and the things that people tell us to do. We don't want that. We just want to be ourselves. And I'm on this journey as well because I'm human. And as dope as I am, I also have challenges. And it's fun. It can be a fun, joyous process, or it can be miserable. We all have the choice to shift our narrative and how we show up in the world. So if you're wanting to shift your narrative and own that you are victorious, even though you may feel like you're in a dark night of the soul and things suck, hit me up and let's have a conversation and see like how I may be of service to you. Like, comment, share, subscribe, like let me know what's going on with you, because like I'm actually a very caring person. I don't know if it shows. I really care about people, and that's something that like is not picked up on by a lot of people, because my methods, truth. I'm a very truthful person. And it's funny to me when people let me know, wow, you gave me those truth bombs and I had to sit with it. And I'm like, oh, well, if that's why you don't like being around me, that's perfect, because I'm one for the truth. And I would rather have 5 friends who are like, Latia, you're screwing up, like get your shit together, than having like 20 friends who are like, oh my God, Latia, you're so amazing, you're doing everything perfectly. It's like, no, there's always room for improvement. And if I value and respect your opinion and perspective, it will make a difference, and it will help me launch and accelerate my development instead of feeling stuck. So if you're wanting someone who's like a fun best friend who's willing to call you out in a nice way, because like I can be loving and tender, and I know when it's like, BS, how are we gonna handle this? Let me know. And see you next time.